Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today's pick a card is looking at what big shift, what big transformation is coming up for you in your life now, looking at the nature of it, the sort of energy, what you're leaving behind, what you're moving towards, the energy of the shift, what the new normal might be like, all of that kind of thing. It may be a sequence of interconnected sort of energies that we find, or it may be one really big shift. It may focus particularly on one area of life, or it may have some implications across different areas of life. So we'll just see what the cards want to say. That's probably all I really need to say about it, because it will unfold as we go through. What I have done in terms of pile choice is I'm using a different tarot deck for each of the piles, and I dealt out to get a major arcana, our spirit for a major arcana that gives us a little bit of a taste of what the nature of the shift might be. And that may help with choice. But of course, you can go to more than one reading if you want. It may be that there's more than one big shift happening for you. At the time I'm filming this, which is early 2026, there's some pretty big planetary astrological things happening this year. So I think quite a lot of people will be going through some big shifts. Plus the world stage is pretty volatile at this point as well. So we are in interesting times, as they say. But my aim here is to find something for your highest good, a shift that is going to be positive for you, and so forth. So for pile number one, we have the Epica Tarot and the Devil Major Arcana. For pile number two, we have the Stars Lighting Up the Night Tarot with the Empress. And for pile number three, we have the Sun card from the Windmill Flag Tarot. So when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, I have the timestamps in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile one to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Epica Tarot, and we have the Devil as a major arcana. And I have to say, I was thinking when that was what Spirit sort of put out for the choice, this has got to be one of two things, and I think it's pretty clear which it is. So I think you'll also know if this fits with you and if you've chosen the right pile. I thought it could be some big shift around work, and it is possible with this that could be involved. It could be about moving from being sort of bound and tied up with work in some way, or making money on material issues. That could certainly be the case. But I think for many of you, it's actually getting away from a relationship. And this could be a friendship, a family one, a romantic. It doesn't have to just be romantic love. But getting away from something that's actually been quite painful. And in the end, finding the shift, the revelation of the issue, if it hasn't been shown to you yet, or the actual steps that you take now to detach yourself from it will actually be a liberation. So the overarching sense is liberation. The point of the devil archetype is not all dark and terrible always. It's just big things that keep us bound. That's why it often is around big organisations, big jobs, big career, workaholism, all that sort of stuff. But it's also around the relationships more generally and the circumstances more generally that have kind of trapped us. So the idea is to use the major arcana to see that, to understand where that is, and to move beyond it. And there's certainly that energy coming. And in fact, it's an energy that will move from something that's probably at this point fairly painful or a little bit dismaying into something that will be ultimately very, very good. This is the current energy. This is the shift energy, and this is the new normal. So let's just say very quickly if it was work, and then I'm going to sort of focus quite a bit on the relationship side, though the first layer or the first sort of row of tarot cards, we are going to try and work out what the nature of the shift is. So it might actually fall more to one than the other in that, but we'll see how we go. So the cute and creepy oracle here. We have in the current energy betrayal of trust, a stab in the back. This is what made me think the minute that I saw that card come out for that, I went, okay, this change, this shift is to get away from a relationship or a situation which is not supporting you, which may be actively not supporting you, or maybe sort of by sort of a case of omission, or not caring, or not being thoughtful, or being neglectful, not supporting you. But either way, there is something here where you are feeling that you are not, you can't necessarily trust something, or you feel that you've put a lot into something, a relationship, a career, or whatever it is, and you're not getting the return, you're not being treated fairly. So this is a sense of a change that has to come because the circumstances you're in were not what they appeared to be and are not good for you. Therefore, the change energy, it's perfect the way these came out, is self-care. It's about preserving and improving your mental and physical health. So this is about going, okay, I've gone through that, but I'm not going to let it defeat me. I'm going to get away from the situation. I'm going to see it for what it is, and then I'm going to look after myself. I'm going to put myself first for a change because everybody else has been getting a piece of me. It's time for me to look after me. So this is definitely a liberation, and the new normal is being able to regain your strength. So I also think this is a shift that doesn't necessarily change anything in you. Like, I don't think you're the issue here. I think the situation you've been in has failed to support you, failed to be honest, failed to be what you thought. And the shift is to get away from that and then to be able to be more relaxed and get back to who you are rather than being bound up by something. So this shift is about liberation, and it's a shift about getting back to who you are authentically. And I think a little bit more being able to put yourself first rather than everybody else, because it's pretty clear here there's something like that going on. So what we're going to do with tarot, in the first row, I'm just going to put down a row of cards, and I'm going to try and work out from that what type of thing are we talking about, how much external input is there by how many major arcana cards or court cards we get. And then also, what's the sort of areas or nature of the change? Where is it mainly emotional? Is it mainly material? Is it mainly belief structures? Is it mainly ambition, competition, jealousy, that sort of thing? I just want to get a sense of what it looks like. Then we're going to have a look at what you're letting go of, and you get letting go of the situation by the looks of things. And then we're going to look at more about the new normal. So firstly, let's just get a little bit more of a diagnostic about what this shift is about. Because I think for this, the shift is pretty clear and it's very positive. But what is the shift from, I think, is the main thing. Particularly if you're thinking, I'm not sure what that is. This could be predictive, and it could be saying you're going to find out that something is not giving you the return or the support that you expected. Anyway, let's see what we get. Six of Swords reversed, the Chariot, Page of Swords reversed, the Hierophant, the Empress, Justice reversed. Okay. All right. This is very externally driven. It actually does look more for most of you like it's something like being in an organisation or in a group of some sort and being unfairly treated. That's what it looks like. We've got Justice reversed and we've got Betrayal. This is definitely something... This, you will know whether this fits you or not. And if this doesn't, don't try and retrofit your life into it or suddenly decide nobody around you can be trusted, because I think the energy is already here. I think you would at least have an instinct around it, even if you haven't fully understood what's going on yet. And for many of you, you may very clearly know what that is. But this is about an injustice. It's externally connected. It's connected to potentially either beliefs. For some of you, this may be in the context of some sort of like spiritual group or community group or something like that, where there's been dishonesty. Like, there actually has been dishonesty here. Someone who I think is a bit threatened by you, and possibly if it's in some sort of like hierarchical organisation, is junior to you. If it's in a workplace, is potentially junior to you. There's been a real stab in the back. That's what this is talking about. And it actually really has affected you because it's thrown you off course in what you believe about these institutions, about your capacity to be able to move forward and grow in it. So it looks like the classic reading of this for me would be a situation where you were, say, in a workplace, you had a lot of prospects, everything looked very positive, you thought it was aligned with your values, and something has occurred, possibly a stab in the back from someone junior to you, or someone who's being immature or just gossipy. That's the other thing. It's not fair, and it's meant that your trajectory here is not what you expected. Now, whether it's come about in a sort of circuitous way where you've been bound to this job or this organisation or this group and you've put a lot in, and then suddenly you're realising it doesn't get returned, that they're great with the rhetoric but not with the actual reciprocity, that's a possibility. But it feels very much like big institutions, big belief structures, where there was a chance for sort of destiny and growth, but where that chance has actually been taken away or not fulfilled. It's one of those two things. Now, if this was love, and I don't think it is, to be honest, I don't think this is about love, but if it was, it may be a very long-standing relationship where you were married and you're now heading towards leaving that. That is a possibility with Justice reversed, Betrayal, the Devil card and so forth, the Hierophant. That is possible, but I don't think for most of you that's what this is about. I think it's much more about either a workplace or some sort of group. Like this could be a spiritual group that was meant to do one thing and turns out to be, full of the rhetoric, but they're not being honest in how they do things, and you feel betrayed and you feel like you're not aligned to it. But whatever it is, it's right to leave. It's absolutely telling you if there's any doubt about this, or if anybody's trying to gaslight you and tell you, we're righteous, we're right, you're misunderstanding, you're misreading this, you're just confused. That's not the case. But there could be a little bit of gaslighting operating with this, but you already know you're going to get out. It's something in that area. So you'll know if this is your reading. So if you're still sticking with it and this is your reading, let's have a look at what you are leaving behind by the shift, apart from this situation, I would say. By taking the shift and putting self-care and your own direction in the front lines. 7 of Cups, delusion. Okay, there was, oh wow, this is big. Okay, you're leaving behind a structure that is not going to hold. Like if this is a workplace, if this is a group or whatever, there is something fundamentally broken in this system because it is not what it appears. It appears to be really wonderful. This appeared to be a dream come true. This appeared to be the right direction. It had been like going to an organisation that said, it puts its staff first and staff are a family, and then you find out what that means is that you're effectively the slave to the family all hours of the day and you're not going to get any reward because you're supposed to just do it for the love of the family kind of idea. It's that sort of thing. There is a real distinct dissonance between the rhetoric and the reality. So you're leaving behind an illusion of a direction because it is not your direction. It is fundamentally flawed, and all it would do is slow you down and kind of, there's a spiritual aspect to this. I feel that even if it's in a workplace, you are very strongly spiritually driven in what you do, and it needs to fit your ethics. And it's like the only way you could stay in that situation would be to almost subdue those ethics and subdue that spiritual approach. It's the only way, because this environment is not built for that. It may pretend to be, but it's not built for that. So you're leaving behind an unstable situation that slowed you down, that didn't allow your spiritual path, and that was not what it appeared to be. And as I say, look, this makes sense because if you're betrayed, you must have actually believed in something to start with. So then let's have a look at what's the new norm. So that's picking up this rest. What are you heading towards as a result of shifting on? 7 of Pentacles reversed, Knight of Pentacles, Judgment. Okay, things are going to get better. At first, you're going to feel like, have I gone backwards? Or I'm not as focused on growth. Now, that may simply be that you want to rest. You want it, like it's not going to be about growth or whatever to start with. And I'm actually just going to pause the video because I realise that the fans from above me are kind of making a flickering, and I don't want this to be an issue for anybody who has problems with flickering. So I'm just going to pause and turn the fan off. Okay, that's done. I think it's because the tarot cards are a little bit shiny, so it's sort of showing up. Okay, so as I was saying, the first part of this shift is resting. It's not being in a growth phase. It's just slowing down, letting everything slow down. And it is also a realization that this is not the garden to grow your future in. Having done that, you'll then be able to be replenished and commit to something that is connected to your fate, your life path, and is much more fortunate. It's also saying to me that if this is around a job and you're sort of you're leaving it and you're wondering, where's the next job coming from? One will come quite quickly. Once you've separated out from it, it looks like you get the call, like literally the call that is more fortunate. And if it's not about work, if it's about like a belief structure or a group that you're in, you'll be able to then dedicate yourself to something that is more in alignment with you and is more fortunate. So this is a definite positive move, but it's coming from a really at the very least disappointing situation, but it feels like more almost discombobulating. It's like something that appeared really good. And I think what Spirit wants to say to you here is take your time out and rest, because if you went straight into something else, you may not trust yourself, because this looked good on the surface. It looked really good on the surface. But it's not your fault. As long as you work out this isn't and you liberate yourself from it, you've done all that you could do. We always have to trust first. Otherwise, we'd have no relationships, no progress, no life to speak of. But when you find something is a betrayal, when you find something is hypocritical or is rhetoric rather than reality, then all it really takes is to move away from that and move towards something that is better. And this is saying you will move towards something that is better. Like that's the reward for being honest about this and seeing it for what it is. Okay, so let's have a look at some astro energy. Use a astro deck that I have that looks at different sort of planets in different houses and signs and so forth. And we're just going to draw 3 cards for the change energy itself. So what you'll experience. Now, we do know self-care is part of it, but in a situation like this, that's important. Like, it's a really important message to get from Spirit to say, get out of the situation and then look after yourself. And that's absolutely important. But there's some stuff you need to process, and that's, coming out of a situation like that. So the astrology might show that when we're looking at 3 cards for that. But then we're going to look at 3 energies in the new normal to be aware of, and either leverage if they're good or mitigate if they bring a different form of challenge. So firstly, the 3 energies for the shift. Exuberant. Okay. Okay, you're going to be really happy to be free. Jupiter in the first house. Yeah, this is, you will know instinctively on some level that this will bring good fortune in. It is going to, but even when you're doing the self-care, you're getting a sense of that. You know that you can, and this says altruistic, sociable, etc. You know that you can align your growth, your Empress type of energy, all that kind of thing, to something that is better. Like, even if it's been painful, you will find once you can actually focus on yourself and heal, that you feel better a lot quicker. In fact, you bounce back incredibly well. We then have Neptune in the second house in Taurus. So this is you working out what is real and not real in the material things in your life. The second house is all about that. It's about how we have status, money, prestige, all of those things, but it has to be in accordance with our ethics to be operating in a functional way. And this is saying that you will be spending some time working through what does that mean to you. And so it says struggles with material possessions. It's like, did I get trapped by the money or the promise of growth or whatever, and I stayed there too long? But the good thing is you do bounce back and you are going to process this, but it is like to get to the real fortune that you're meant to have and to get to the one and the environment where it's going to be in alignment with your ethics, you do need to actually look at where wasn't it real. Like Neptune, the 7 of Cups and the Star is like Neptune. It's a very similar thing, the idealism and then the reality. So what else as an energy will be going through the shift or the transition? We have Pluto in the 5th house. I will share your creativity. Okay, so for some of you, this might have been some sort of creative group. It might have been that you got a book published and then you found out the publishers weren't marketing the way that they should or something like that. There's something there that's creative, but it is hugely transformative. It says to you that you can also create the thing that you were looking for and you thought you found there, which was the ideal thing for your direction. It is saying you're going to find that, but it was almost as though you needed to go through this to parse out in a very specific way what is the actual creativity and the actual dream and what you really do want to bring into being, particularly materially for yourself. So this is a sort of you're going to feel buoyed up by just getting free. That's going to be a fantastic situation for you. But to really use the energy of this shift, it's realigning what you want to create in terms of the material life and what are your ideals and ethics and all of that kind of thing associated with it. So what then comes in with the new normal? Once you've had a bit of rest and you've got your strength back and you're getting back into it, what is the new normal? So firstly, we have North Node in the 3rd house, Gemini. So you are heading towards something where you can communicate more. Be curious, learn about new things, be excited to do that. It's interesting, it fell with Jupiter there. So there's a kind of a reinvigorating of your curiosity and your excitement and so forth to do something new. But it is around communication. There's something here where communication is going to be very important with Gemini. So it's not just going and sitting on an island forever. If you saw that and thought, oh, I don't mind the idea of that, you are actually going to be communicating with people as well. Then secondly, we have Pluto in the 11th house, Aquarius. I know, tumultuous social interactions. So you may have this may be saying that you still get some fallout from some of this. There may be people who are still trying to keep in touch with you. And that's where you've got kind of Aquarius helping you to step a bit away from it, get a bit transpersonal, a bit away from what the situation is. So I feel that while you're resting and recuperating, it's just saying be aware that maybe some of the past will try and get back in contact with you, or you may even now be very sensitized to where is social communication working for you and where would it take you back into another situation of being trapped. And then lastly, around the new normal, we have Pluto. Again, Pluto in the fourth house, I feel, developing emotional resilience. Yeah, so this is all about, it really does feel to me like you are actually someone, because it felt so spiritual, somebody felt so spiritual, you feel like someone who has very strong values and ethics and really wants to do something that means something in the world, whether it's, as I say, whether it's at work or a community group or a spiritual group or whatever it is. And this has burnt you because you thought you found the people who would be like you and you didn't, because they don't have your ethics and your spirituality. It's, as I say, it's all rhetoric. But it is there because you are meant to communicate something and take what your message is important. It's meant to get out there. It's part of your calling. But just even in being it may be a little bit socially tumultuous. It may occur sometimes that your message isn't as easy to get out because people like the quick fix or the it sounds nice and we'll say all the nice words but then we can do whatever we like type of thing that happens quite often in community groups and political groups and so forth. So I think that this was all meant to get you to recalibrate so that you would put yourself and your values first, and then you can use what you have and you can communicate what you have and you'll have the emotional resilience to do it. If you hadn't done that and you moved to the point where your fortune really started to kick in, then the shock level, whatever it is at this level, would be like exponentially higher. But now, because you actually do know how to be emotionally resilient and how to recognize those things, you can move forward with more confidence. Okay, so let's see with Lenormand as well. Let's just get 3 cards for kind of fortune energy around the new normal to be aware of. Anchor. Yeah, this is, you're heading to something that's far more stable and far more what it appears to be. So it may have felt like, God, no, walking away from this feels like I'm suddenly unmoored and I don't know where I'm going. But the reality is you're very quickly going to be anchored in something that is more suitable. Lily, but you need to heal. Anchor yourself in confidence that the right thing is going to come, because you need to do a bit of healing before you move forward. And the Cavalier, there will be a man who is important in this next step. So yeah, if you know, it could be about a relationship, love relationship coming in, if that's your preference, you know, in terms of love. Otherwise, it could be somebody who's offering you a job, somebody within a group. But there will be a man who's important and who will, I think, be the one who's going to give you the call. Like I would feel here you're going to get a call from someone who's a man or has a very male energy about them at the very least. But it's after the healing, then you sort of move forward. But this is a secure thing to do. It's making sure, this is your spirit team, the divine, making sure you do not anchor yourself somewhere that is just going to tie you up and betray you. It's like, okay, that was a bit painful, but it was a lesson, and now you're going to kind of, more energy is coming in, and we're going to make sure you're in a safe position and you're healed and ready for that. Okay, let's get you a couple of animal spirit guides as well, pile 1. Firstly, we have Ladybug, time of luck. Yeah, I'm going to put this with Wheel of Fortune. This is after a really painful situation, and I'm sorry, the start of this is, it is painful, but it will be to your benefit. You're heading into a much luckier time. And Owl, wisdom. Yeah, and it was about giving you the wisdom so that you can use the luck in its best possible way. So sometimes this happens to us. We go through what feels like a reversal in fortune, but actually what it is a preparation for fortune. And I think that's what's going on for you, which makes it a very perfect segue to the last card in the reading. And I'm going to give you a choice, so please choose a number between 1 and 3. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal out a blessing card for each. So this may give you a little bit more of an idea either directly of what this was about if it's still not clear to you, or an area in your life, either this or somewhere else, where blessings are coming in along with the luck and the wisdom. So if you need to pause, do so to choose your number from 1 to 3, because I'm about to start dealing out. So the blessing, if you chose number 1, is a blessing on a home. So feeling at home. And, it's really funny that happened, because when I put Ladybug out, I heard that nursery rhyme, ladybug, ladybug, fly away home. It felt like there was a homecoming, and I almost said it, but then I didn't. Maybe the reason I didn't say it is it's actually mainly important for those who chose number 1. This will make you feel, it's almost like this is saying right now you are in the wrong home. I'm talking about it broadly, metaphorically, not necessarily literally. This is to get you to move towards and anchor into your true home. Okay, if you chose number 2, the blessing is a blessing of the waters. So this is emotional calm, emotional healing. Now, isn't it interesting? I won't dig this all out, but the picture for the self-care was somebody luxuriating in a bath. Like, this could literally say, go and swim in a pool, swim in the sea, have a luxurious bath, go to a spa. There's something about you grounding yourself and healing yourself in water so that you're emotionally happier. And if you chose number 3, your blessing is a blessing on a homecoming. Oh, isn't that funny? So this is saying, for 2 of you, if you chose 1 or 3, this is about you finding your true home. And when you get there, you'll recognise that this actually is the real thing, as opposed to whatever this situation was. And I think if you chose number 2, it's emotional cleansing. There's a blessing of emotional cleansing and balancing to allow you to move forward. So I do feel for you that it was tricky to start with, but you will be wiser, you will be stronger, and the future looks a lot brighter than this situation would tell you. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pole 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Empress as the major arcana, which can mean a number of things. It can be around love, being the divine feminine or finding the divine feminine, depending upon you, your preferences, that kind of thing. So connecting to the Emperor archetypally. It can be things like starting a family, those sort of things. Potentially could be a big shift in one's life with the Empress. It could be abundance. It's also creativity, and I think that's the main theme here when I look at the Cute and Creepy Oracle and what it's saying from current state, the shift itself, and then the new normal. It feels mainly like it is a creative process in one form or another. Now, it could lead to love, particularly with this as a starting point. But it could also be about creative dreams and what you do with others and what is your own dream as well. Because when we look at the current state, we have temptation luring you away from your true purpose. So there is a risk around you at the moment in terms of your creativity or what you want to achieve of going in the wrong direction. So that energy is there, but the shift is actually towards where it will work and who it will work with, because we have collaboration, so working with others to reach your goal. So if you are tempted to go off and do something else, or tempted to try and do something that needs at least one other person or more than one person, then the actual shift is to realise that you need other people in your life. So it could be around love. It could be that you'd like to be really single for ages and you'd like to just sort of flirt and just have short flings and so forth. But now you're realising you need to find a partner to move forward and create something with. That's absolutely possible. But interesting, the new normal is dream, communicating with the subconscious and imagining possible futures. This is to head towards something that you dream of creating or having. So dream love, dream life, dream creation, dream outcome, dream team, all of those sorts of things. So what we're going to do, this could be so broad that what we're going to do to start with is get a little bit more information on what the shift actually entails. And we're going to be looking firstly with tarot on where there's major arcana and court cards. There's a lot of external impact on that. When it's mainly minor arcana, it's more internal to you. And we'll look at what the suits are when we have minor arcana too, to try and work out, is this sort of like creative primarily? Is it work related? Is it love related? Is it money related? Is it a bit of all of them? So that's what we'll look at first. Then we'll have a look at what you are leaving behind, which is really this energy to go into this shift, and then what is the new normal going to be as a result of the shift. So let's have a look at, and remember these things, these are big. This isn't just a minor thing of, I'll work with that person in the next team to create something that would be kind of cool. That it would be bigger than that. Okay, so let's see a little bit about the shift energy. We have the Devil. We have the Five of Pentacles. We have the Hanged Man reversed. We have the Lovers. We have the Seven of Wands reversed. And we have the the Nine of Cups. Okay, it's going to end up in something really good, and it is about a dream. There's some big external stuff going on here. We've got 6 cards, and 3 of them are major arcana. So half of the cards are major arcana. The interesting thing is that we don't have court cards here. So there's not a specific individual necessarily involved in this, or if there is, there's more than one, which might be why there's collaboration. But what we can certainly say in terms of the external energies around this, there is a need to think differently about something, the Hanged Man reversed, and connect more with others, not be so alone. This looks like you, either in your work, your creativity, your love, or whatever this is about, you have kind of felt freedom is, yes, there's a cost to freedom, but it's free. So you've been independent and not wanting to commit and work with others. It feels like you really like to beat your own drum, which is fine, but there's something now that you want to create and dream into being, and you're going to have to connect with others. So it's saying that you need to think differently about the potential relationships around you. You have to say, for me to really make something happen, I'm going to have to not be just so incredibly independent. And I'm going to have to release myself from the concept that is like a trap and think of it more as a collaboration. So this looks to me like you have felt, for various reasons, and maybe some very valid ones, that to involve others in whatever you wanted to create or dream into being somehow trapped you in, and it was better to just do it on your own. But this is saying part of the shift is actually to connecting with others and working with them. And it's like putting aside competitiveness, and that gets your dream. So it's like, and maybe one of the reasons that you've tended to be independent is you found that when you work with others, competitive stuff occurs, and then it actually does become a burden rather than a creative joy. But there's something coming, there's a collaboration coming in that is likely to be far better, or a partnership that's going to be far better. So if this was actually about love, then it may be I'm very happily single, I don't want to get tied down, and then suddenly there's a relationship that's coming in that shifts the whole thing, and it makes you a little bit nervous, but you also feel, this is the dream. So it's either a collaborative project that you have to put aside your own competitiveness because you're going to do much more with others and in a much better way than you would do on your own, and the dream can come true. Or it's, don't be frightened of this, there's a beautiful relationship coming in, but you're not going to be single at the end of it. It's one or the other, and it's probably going to depend on who's come to the reading. But this is a big shift there's at least one person coming into your field, if they haven't already, that will shift you majorly away from the temptation of the independence into more of a collaborative or a connected approach. So let's see in a little bit more detail what you are letting go and leaving behind with this shift. The Moon reversed, the Ace of Swords reversed, the Hermit reversed, the Three of Pentacles reversed, and the King of Swords. Okay. What you're leaving, again, it's like, this is very clear. You are someone who has a very sharp mind, very clear mind, and usually whatever you've determined around doing it your way has really, really worked. That really has worked. But this is saying that view, like I'm not collaborating, you're leaving behind. You have to leave behind. There's something really special that you want to bring out into the world, and you can't hide it away anymore. To do that, you've got to bring it out into the world. So there's this, you feel like an artist in a garret, you feel like someone who's painting the most amazing things, but you're not showing anyone. It's like there's a point at which you have to show someone. There's a point at which sometimes you need to collaborate, even if it's not with another painter, it's with other people like art gallery owners. Just using that as an example. So there's something here about letting go of the sense that being right is the only thing that matters. It's actually saying no. finding the right people for the really important project, the really important idea. And if this is about love, it's a belief structure about love. That one is better off just being on its head and unsentimental and not making a commitment to others. But there's a lot of emotional stuff that's going to come up to the surface about what your dream is and what it requires, if that's the case. And just being footloose and fancy free, I'm sorry, is probably not going to do it for you. So let's see a little bit more about the new normal. Judgment reversed, Strength, King of Wands reversed, Six of Swords reversed. Okay. Yeah, this is a big shift for you because I think, as I say, I think you're very creative. I think you're very smart. I think you're incredibly competent at the stuff that you do. So sometimes the temptation is to sort of be the boss or the lone operator or that kind of thing. And like see anything else as diminishing your sense of your creative fulfillment or your vision or whatever. So it's like, I just don't want to change this. I want it to be the way I want it to be. It's my dream. But there's something about this that you can't do that. You've got to be comfortable with the fact that you're not the only creator in this. Or if it's a love relationship, it's not just about you sort of like romancing someone and then moving on. Like there's someone else whose passion has to also meet yours. It's like it's not going to work for you in this person coming in. If it's a love relationship, to just go, okay, if it works out, that's great, but like I'm just going to like be footloose and fancy free. This is actually asking you to be more creatively, romantically, whatever this is, free and prepared to not have every step worked out already, like the King of Swords up there. You will be strong. This will make you stronger, but it's asking, you have to put aside the judgments that you've had before. And you won't necessarily feel like this is a calling to a completely different way of doing things. And you will have a little bit of time to think about it and process it, which is good. But it is something where you're going to have to shift your viewpoint a lot. But it will be good for you. It's just that, it's letting go of the reins, either falling in love and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and fall in love. And it will work out. It's not, whatever this is actually going to work out well. Or it is letting go of the reins a bit creatively or at work or something like that and collaborating rather than having to be the only architect of something. But either way, it will turn out to be a much stronger thing for you. It is a shift that is positive. Okay, so let's have a look with astrology. I'm going to pull 3 cards from a deck that has planets and houses and signs and so forth. So see a little bit more about the shift energy itself, what you're going to experience. Collaborating in whatever this means for you. And then we're going to get 3 cards for what this new normal is like and, what could be wonderful about it or what could be challenging in it as well. So firstly, the shift itself. We have Pluto in the 9th house, Sagittarius. I see deep desire to know the source of our being. Okay, now that's interesting because judgment's reversed there in terms of the new normal. So I think that what this is saying is the shift is shifting how you do that. I think that you've probably always sought within in your own creativity or in being sort of very independent. That's who you are. But this is actually this person, if it's a love relationship, or this collaboration that's necessary for a creative or a material dream, is going to actually get you closer to the true source of your being and the true source of your strength. But that will be the thing that propels you. There will be something about however this manifests will make you want to do it. It will put you away from the temptation of just staying on your own. You will want to go through this transformation to learn more about yourself. Secondly, we have the North Node in the 1st house in Aries, be assertive. Now that's interesting because you probably are in your own way, but this is a different form of assertion, I think. This is maybe one of the reasons you'd like to do things yourself is because then you don't have to just do what everybody else thinks. And collaboration is not about other people telling you what to do. It's about everybody having a point of view. And assertive is much more healthy than aggression. So this is saying you can still assert your viewpoint and who you truly are in this relationship, this collaboration, whatever it is that we're looking at. And thirdly, we have Saturn in the 5th house in Leo, become your own inner authority. Okay, so you have been that, but this is in a different function. So it's actually saying it's not a shift that says you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. This is actually a shift that says being assertive about what is your part in the collaboration. What do you uniquely bring, and what do you learn about yourself by actually working with others? Or what do you uniquely bring into a love relationship, and how does that help you know yourself? It's saying to you, you may feel like this is going to take away the thing that made you feel strong and sovereign, but it won't. It won't do that. So then let's see the dream state and starting to bring, particularly with the Empress, manifest a dream. What is the energy around that? So we have Uranus in the 7th house in Libra, I balance, unpredictable and fractured relationship patterns. I think this is where you really work out what you want in terms of relationships and connections moving on, and it will shift things a lot. This is what I'm saying, it's a big shift. I suspect it's actually a shift away from fractured and unpredictable patterns into something very, very new, but it will feel a little bit like unclear where you're going, 6 of Swords reverse at first. Then we have Pluto in the 4th house, Cancer, I feel, developing emotional resilience. Okay, so maybe one of the reasons that you haven't sort of connected in committed relationships or group work or whatever has been that way you can just be yourself. You don't have to assert yourself and doing this you have to be more emotionally resilient, but you'll have this, it's a strong thing. This is why you're developing strength out of it. And thirdly, we have Saturn in the 11th house, Aquarius, I know, liberator of society. Okay, so you want to do something big, actually, I think, and you want a different way of thinking about this. Like what it looks like to me is that you're someone who has big dreams and you've kind of felt like you were the one with the clarity to do it and it's just been better to do it. Or you've been someone who thought, I don't fit into the conventional ideas about like marriage and children and things like that. Like if I was going to be in love, it's not going to work. It's not going to work for me. But like in either case, you're going to find people that you align with. And there's something in what you do as a result of that liberates old ways of looking at things and liberates for you the way that you work moving forward as well. So you have a liberating effect on others as well as the fact that others working with you liberates you in a different way. So it's reciprocal, which is nice. Okay, let's have a look with Lenormand. What are some of the sort of fortune energies of the shift? Crossroads, yeah, it's a choice. You don't have a choice here. Like there's a lot of pressure. I think you'll end up thinking, no, I really don't have a choice. But if you don't do it, and that might be why we've got judgment reversed. It is a choice. It is saying you're not forced into it. And if you let that choice pass and you just stay on the road that you're on, then you stay in a separate way. But you're not going to get all the benefits that you would get from making the choice to do it differently. So the choice, broom. To do the broom, you have to be prepared to sweep away what isn't working, including what isn't working in your own approach. And it could feel a little bit uncomfortable, I think. And mice, okay. So it is hard. It is a hard shift, I've got to say. It's not a hard shift in that it will be bad as an outcome. I don't think it will. I think it's good. But I think you have had situations before where when you have either had long-term relationships or collaborated with others, you've had lots of tension and conflict and people eating away and taking away what could have been yours. So I think this is the thing. It's like this is a big shift to do this, but it is saying to me that there is a new strength that can come if you do it, and to understand that it's your unique contribution, and if you are connecting with others who have a different unique contribution, it should work really well. Where it doesn't tend to work well is when there's two King of Swords types both in a project, because then there is a kind of like a conflict about who gets the outcome sort of thing. So I think it's really just saying that's how to make the choice work for you. Okay, let's get you a couple of animal spirit guides as well, pile 2. We have armadillo, self-protection mode. This is where you've been, but it also is saying like the skills you had that made it possible for you to be very independent and do everything yourself are also skills that you can apply in a different context and collaboration with others. So you have the armor you need, the armadillo is saying. And lamb, immaculate purity, which allows you to protect anything in this that is the true dream. You will be able to protect. You have the strength to do that. So it's not going to, I think you've had situations before, either in relationships or in collaborations or whatever, where it hasn't worked out and it's eaten away at what you could have had. That's why you've become incredibly, fiercely independent. But the reality is there's something much better that you can do now with others, whether it's, your true love and actually having that kind of relationship, or whether it's something creative or material. But either way, you have the strength, it's saying, to protect the pureness of the dream, which is good. Which is a nice segue for the ending of the reading, where I'm going to ask you to choose between 1 and 3. Depending upon which number you choose, that will be the blessing that this shift brings to you. So pause if you need to, because I'm about to deal out. So for number 1, the blessing is, this came up in another one in the first place, a blessing on a home. So this is saying finding your true home, establishing a home with others, or, in a workplace or creatively. But there is something here that goes to the core of you and feels secure. If you chose number 2, your blessing is a blessing for a mother. Now that's very interesting when we've got the Empress there. I don't feel this is necessarily saying to go and have a child and things like that. It doesn't look like it's talking about that sort of thing. Though, of course, if you want to and that's your dream, you obviously need a partner to do that, and you need the commitment and stability. You can't do that on your own. But if it's presuming it's more around the creativity, this is saying you will be the ultimate mother or parent of whatever this is. Like, it's not that you're giving that up, but it's actually allowing it a more secure and more expansive and fruitful life. Okay, and if you chose number 3, the blessing is a blessing on the children. Okay, so if this is protecting your creative potential if you chose number 2, this is protecting. And look, we've got like a unicorn that looks a little bit like a lamb, doesn't it? They're kind of similar. There's the protection of the dream. So this is what you create. The dream that you create has a blessing on it. Your sense of creation of it, if you chose number 2, has a blessing on it. And your core self, if you chose number 1, has a blessing. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Sun, which of all the 3 major arcana, not that the other ones were bad, but probably it's one of the most optimistic major arcana cards that is in the tarot deck. It certainly suggests brightness, creativity, life path, optimism, all of those things. So I think that the fruits of this transition are definitely that. The thing is, though, I think that the reason that you came is that most of the people who come here probably have an innately optimistic outlook anyway. I think it's something core to you. Now, that doesn't mean that you think everything's wonderful all the time. Optimism isn't so much thinking, rose-coloured glasses, the world's always going to be wonderful, the universe is always going to provide, and ignoring things that you need to shift or change or move away from or whatever. Optimism is knowing that you will find a solution, trusting yourself, trusting the universe, trusting your problem-solving skills, all of that kind of thing for any problems, and that you can also recognise and leverage things that are great. So I think that's the sort of person who you are, and it doesn't mean that you have to be, as I say, happy, happy, happy all the time, because sometimes we it's like the seasons. It's very interesting here with the Cute and Creepy Oracle. This is the current state, this is the transition, and this is the new normal. So the current state, you're already someone who thinks in terms of seasons. Things go through seasons. You'd be actually very comfortable with the Wheel of Fortune as a major arcana card too, because you recognise that sometimes the wheel will be coming to the top and working for you, and other times it'll be more like autumn or winter. It'll be the time when things slow down and are quieter until the new seeds are planted and the new life comes forward in spring and summer. So this is saying that there is something about your innate optimism. And you've been in a period like autumn, probably / winter, but, a period of maturity and the beginning of the decline, like something that had been working well and shining brightly. You're now in that kind of quieter phase. But the transition is not just going from autumn to winter. It's almost like leapfrogging winter and moving. See how bright that looks to spring and summer. And it's in how you talk about something. So it says, speak your truth, don't stay silent. So you are naturally optimistic, you are naturally a problem solver, but you have been in a period that's a bit of a nadir, a little bit of a quieter time, a little bit more hidden away, a little bit less celebrated and seen. but the transition is coming out and talking about things, things that you're excited about. If you've just met someone you're really attracted to, it's actually talking to them and asking them for a coffee maybe. If you've thought of a really creative idea, it could be thinking, now I'm going to talk to people about it, I'm going to get it out there. Maybe you are a creative person who has very quiet sort of creativity like writing or painting, and you've done that and you've got that ready, and now you're actually going, now I have to get out there and tell people about it, because otherwise it's just going to gather dust on a shelf. So the transition is talking about what you want to do next, I think, or what you want to do with stuff that you created in the last cycle, or with, if you felt like, I've been quiet and not having a relationship for a long time and not having passion, actually, I've now met somebody and I want to talk to them and see what happens. The nice thing is that the new normal is creativity. Connect with your creative spirit, create something new. So whatever it is that you want to talk about and you want to get moving by expressing your optimism, your life path, that you're ready to come out into the world and not be sort of hidden away in autumn's clothes, pretty though they may be, that is something that you're going to be able to create, and you'll be able to sort of move forward with that bright energy. But as I say, I feel for you, you will then go through this, you'll do that, and then you'll probably cycle back to this. This is probably not in itself a big change for you. I think the biggest change may be that there is something that you really want to talk to others about, because this cycle, kind of like sun to autumn to creativity, to sun to autumn to creativity, is probably a fairly typical cycle for you. But I feel like the big shift is getting out and talking about what you're doing. Talking about, I'm in love, or I've got the best idea for a novel ever, or I've just written a screenplay, or something like that. That's what we're talking about, I think. Now, we're just going to get a little bit more information on the nature of the shift itself. And then we're going to look at what you're leaving behind and what the new normal is in more detail. When I'm looking at the nature of it, I'm going to be looking at things like how many major arcana or court cards are there, because that will tell me how much it's triggered by other people around you, compared to what's within yourself, which is the minor arcana. And we'll also look at the nature of the cards, obviously, and in particular with the minor arcana, the suits. Do we have a predominance of any particular suit? To just give us a bit of an idea about what is it you're meant to be talking about. Really, that's what this is about. Like, what are you meant to start to communicate to others about for this shift to occur? High Priestess, Knight of Cups, Page of Pentacles reversed, Queen of Cups, King of Wands. Wow, a lot of other people. And that's that's an additional major arcana card, and it's fortune, good fortune. As I said, how I said you would be very comfortable with the Wheel of Fortune? That's like a second Wheel of Fortune in this deck. So you definitely are, and there's nothing in this that will feel like it's a bad outcome. The shift is really, really good. So it's not, I think it's much more likely to be about something that's emotionally true to you than it is about something material. It could be getting out and talking about something that is emotionally and creatively important to you, and you do actually, the shift is actually having a plan to get out and let people know what you've done. But it feels more like potentially meeting someone, to be honest, because that's an incredibly good idea there. Then you've got the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups. This is not gender specific. It's not saying you have to be heterosexual or anything like that. But when I see the King and Queen of a suit both upright in a spread, I usually think that's a very good sign around anything romantic. But it's not formed. Like, if that's something, it's not formed yet. It needs the passion to come into being. But it's a fortunate thing to actually create and move forward into the sunshine with this is very, very fortunate. And it has a very strong spiritual aspect. It may in fact be that for some of you, this is a connection you're going to make maybe online or something like that, and you haven't necessarily met in the material world, but your instincts are telling you yes. And so you actually have to talk about, well, when are we going to meet? What are we going to do with this? There's something like this. Of all of the readings, this is the one that feels most like it could be about love. But it doesn't have to be about love. If it's about creativity, then you have an audience for what you've done. You just haven't manifested it in a business level, and that's probably what this is talking about. A very deep sort of sense of spiritual connection with what you've created, and it's a fortunate time. So either way, it's time to get moving. It's time to get communicating what you're feeling and what you've done. And that will bring its own new wave of creativity and excitement. So let's see what you're leaving behind, which is, a combination of like silence and being a little bit hidden away, I think. But let's see what you're leaving behind with this shift. Ace of Swords reversed, Nine of Pentacles, Three of Cups reversed, Two of Swords, Right, okay. You're leaving behind independence. So I do think this is either, as I say, falling in love. It could very well be falling in love, or it could be finding others by talking about what you're doing, finding others that can bring you resourcing. So that sort of sense of like you do it all yourself, jack of all trades or whatever is not there anymore. You're leaving behind the hiddenness of your ideas. You're leaving behind the sense that you can't celebrate. You've just got to keep iterating. You've got to keep iterating on something because you're not lucky, but you're actually moving to luck. So part of this shift is to actually let luck in. You're leaving behind a fear of stepping out and talking about something or going for something until you know everything. And you're leaving behind the sense that you'll always find conflict if you start to talk to others, or you start to express what you feel, or you start to show your work. You'll always find conflict. Like you're leaving behind all the things that would make you doubt your capacity to take your creativity or your love into the world and manifest it. The thing that would stop the new idea, the sense that you have to be independent, that you won't get to celebrate, that you won't be understood, that you don't understand the situation. It's like you've sort of worked it out. This period in autumn has not been idle. You've worked out how to move forward and how to express yourself, even if you don't fully know that you have yet. So let's see a little bit more about the new normal. Six of Wands, you're going to win. This is really, really positive. Two of Wands, you'll have a direction to go in. Three of Wands reverse, you don't have to have everybody following you. You just have to enjoy what you're doing. I do think this, for most, it's about love. I think this is actually saying a shift of like talking and connecting with somebody new is going to bring in the dream of love. I do. I think that's a really big possibility here. You're going to win. You're going to be the chosen one. You're going to move forward with someone. The paths that hadn't worked out before are going to fall away and you're going to be very happy. But if it's about creativity or something like that, the same sort of pattern applies. Very, very positive. Okay, so let's have a look with astrology. We're going to get 3 cards from a deck that sort of has planets and placements and so forth in signs and houses to see a little bit more about the shift energy itself, which is the speaking your truth one, the actually getting out there and talking about something or talking to someone or whatever it is. And then we'll look at 3 cards around the new normal where the creative juices are running and you're feeling really excited and lucky and happy. Like this is really, really positive. It's one of the more positive readings I've seen in a long time. But we may find a couple of challenges in astrology. Life always has a few challenges. So around the shift, firstly we have Jupiter in the 8th house, no limits. Yeah, okay, you've got it. You've probably been limiting yourself by hiding away. And the 8th house is all about the resurrection of the idea, the resurrection of the sense of love, the resurrection that comes in the seasons when you get through autumn and when you skip winter and you get straight to spring and summer. And it's about expansion and luck. It's like allowing that it could be your turn. That's what this is saying, and being optimistic about it. We also have Neptune in the 6th house, self-sacrificing service to others. So you may naturally do that and it's your turn, or it may be that this is a reward for all that you've done to serve others, whatever it is that you want. But whatever it is that you get out there and you talk about and you do and make the connections, it will probably help others. Or as I say, it comes from a reward of people recognising what you've done. What else do we have? We also have Uranus in the 2nd house, grounding your personal values. Yeah, this is also, because good luck is coming in, part of the shift and talking to others and working out, I think, the balance between your luck, your fortune, and what you would want to do to help others and connect with others allows you to go into luck and do it in a grounded way that it's sustaining. Okay, so then let's have a look at the creative energy, the new normal that you're heading towards. So we have Moon in the 6th house, emotionally predictable. Okay, so you feel steady. This is what I'm saying. You're optimistic. Even if you, as I say, you don't have to be warm and fuzzy, everything's light and love all the time, or worry about whether you're sitting in high vibrations. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that at the end, you're emotionally steady enough to be able to create and love and do whatever this is about in a way that is open and honest and confident. Then secondly, we have Mercury in the 5th house, vocally creative. So yeah, you're meant to speak. For some of you, actually, you're meant to sing. Sing or be a podcaster or something like that. Like if you have always wanted to do something like run a YouTube channel, run a podcast, be a singer, like this is the absolute perfect layout for. But you've got to open your mouth. You've got to say something or sing something, and that's when the creative energy really occurs. And we also have South Node in the ninth house be anchored. So this South Node is normally what you're moving away from, but this is talking about a new normal. So I think it's what you're carrying from the past that allows you to do this. I think it's your past energy of being able to be optimistic and anchored and grounded and emotionally predictable. You're going to keep that in that, but now you're going to be blossoming into what you would actually do with that. So I think it's you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You are actually carrying things from the past that worked for you, but you're now being more out in the world with it in some way. Okay, let's see the fortune energy with Lenormand around this for you, so particularly around the new normal. Mountain, this is big. And it's the beginning of a big journey. But, it's like, it's still very promising, but it's not, this is the beginning of something big. This is not a minor thing in your life. Stork, but good luck, good fortune. That's another good fortune. Good things are coming. Blessings are coming your way. So the provisions you need for the journey and for what you're wanting to achieve are there. And if you do fall in love, you might also very soon after that have a child in the family. That is sometimes what the stork's about. And birds. Okay, now that's interesting, given that we've got the emotionally sort of not vulnerable, the opposite, emotionally sort of stable, and the sort of like sense of wanting to be anchored. You're going to find once you talk that you're talked about. Now, sometimes that will be wonderful and sometimes you won't like what's said. But again, it's like if you suddenly in a relationship, some people might be jealous. If you're suddenly running a big podcast, some people won't like what you're saying. But, if you do something creative, not everybody's going to be a fan. But it doesn't matter because this is a big journey for you that is going to bring blessings. So once you're out in the world, and that might be what stopped you bringing things out into the world or taking the plunge romantically, but don't worry too much about it. Just it's white noise at the back. Just be aware it's there, aware that it's probably coming from jealousy or competition, and then you can like put it in its appropriate emotional place. Okay, let's get you a couple of guides for the shift. So we have a couple of animal guides. So we firstly have armadillos. So this is interesting. They came up with one of the others. So some of you might have come to more than one. You have the strength and the resilience, and you have the protection. I think for you, the armadillo self-protection mode, the sort of like armor that you have is actually your optimism. Like even when you have reversals, you know that you can turn that around. It's just that I think you relied on that, and that's why you haven't felt you were lucky. One of the big shifts around this is there's something about this, something about winning something or being chosen or whatever it is, that's going to make you realize you can have luck as well. And we also have the snake, transmutation of emotions. Yeah, and being able to clear out. That's not snake in like somebody you can't trust. This is snake as a spirit guide. It's very alchemical. It's going to allow you to sort of transform and work through emotions to go towards what is positive and what is for your highest good. And speaking of your highest good, the thing that we want out of a big shift is a blessing. So that's what we're going to end with. So I'm just going to ask you to choose a number between 1 and 3 because depending upon what number you choose, that will be a blessing associated with this, either directly or indirectly. So if you chose number 1, your blessing is a blessing on the children. Okay, so we have Stork here. For some of you, this could be falling in love and ending up starting a family and feeling very happy with all of that. And if that's the case, that's fine. If it's creative children, they are being protected. They are blessed. What comes out of this is blessed. So it may be that part of the luck now is what you are going to create or bring into the world or how you're going to help others is necessary for them as well, and it's a blessing that is for you and for them. If you chose number 2, a blessing on the senses that gift the world to you. Okay, so this, like, look at this, like this looks like spring. So we've got autumn, we've got leapfrogging with what you say into spring, blessing on the senses that gift the world to you so that you can really connect with the world and create and do things that are beautiful. And then you have the creativity almost like summer. And then over it all is the sun to illuminate it. Okay, and if you chose number 3, your blessing is a blessing on a homecoming. So there's something about this that brings you back to who you truly are, what you're truly meant to do, or finds a home for you in a way that perhaps you haven't felt you've had before. So that's very positive. That's probably the most positive of the three. I hope that it resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.